Actually, a lot of black people you'll talk to say they prefer the racism in China over back in the States. They perceive it to be differently because here they see it more as ignorance, whereas in the States it's more like hate. Like people actually hate you and like want to kill you or threaten you violently. But in China it's more like, it's just different. It doesn't seem like they hate you. Especially when I speak Chinese, I can go almost anywhere and talk to people, at least in the places I've been so far, and people will kind of accept me, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that, but they won't be like, oh, get out of my store. They won't follow me around in the store and see if I'm trying to steal something. They won't, like, I don't know, be rude to me. Now, that's not the case for all black people. Again, I'm the Obama black, I guess, that Chinese people are more comfortable with. So when you have kind of darker skinned black people, their experiences are much, much different than mine.
Listen, if you all are not coming to China in 2025, you're going to be done in the next 10 to 15 years. I just saw a video of an individual. He said the same thing. He's only been here 2 weeks, and he's just now discovering what I've known for 17 years. Listen, I live in China. I do business here. I have a lot of stuff going on here in China. I help people source. Yes, you do have companies who are willing to pay for your first round of production. The innovation here, the forward thinking here, the building, and what they are trying to do here is just unmatched when it comes to the US. You don't even have to come here and take your products back to the US. You have companies in China, Chinese companies, large enterprises that will help you advertise in other markets. Listen, y'all, I live in China, been here for almost 7 years. I have my family here. We are within this community. And if you are owning any type of brand and you are doing business in China, this is the time to get here and to connect with manufacturers. They are literally helping. I can't even speak about all of the stuff that is going on. And it's kind of hard because you have to be here to even understand the gravity of what I am saying. If you are an entrepreneur and you're not coming to China in 2025, just hang it up.
Hello there, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're doing fine from whichever part of the world you're watching this from. And yeah, let's get right into it. So on our today's episode, we have the videos as you've seen from the prelude. There seems to be an emergence of many Black Americans moving to China and are leaving the US, and they have stated their reasons. Part of them being economic crisis, taxes, and just high living standards. But then this is a topic that has attracted widespread discussion online. Different people have different opinions about this whole thing. And yeah, let's just have a look at these videos and have a really quick discussion at the end of it all.
So a lot of people make a big deal about racism in China, as if racism in China is more than other places in the world, which I disagree with. But really, I've been in China for almost 9 years, and I can't really think of many instances where I face like overt racism because I'm Black. Like nothing that really stands to mind. Like, it might be like one person or something, they do or say something stupid that I don't like. But overall, I don't really feel like racism has been an issue for me. I really think it's overblown and it's sensationalized in the media because, they like to paint us Black people as victims. Like everywhere we go, like we need someone to protect us or we're being victimized.
The American empire is over. We're done. We peaked about 12, 15 years ago, and we are on a down. And it's very hard for the American people, which I understand. I am one. It's hard to get your head around that. We've had a century of on the way up, which is a lot more fun than on the way down. But it does happen to every empire. We're only the latest. Look at the British, how far they've fallen. We're in that process. So the problem with the trickle down is, yeah, there might be more jobs, but they're going to be created in China. They're going to be created in Brazil. They're going to be created in India. They're not created here. The best electric vehicles in the world right now, by uniform global agreement, are produced by something called the BYD Corporation, which probably most folks have never heard of, which is Chinese. BYD, the initials, BYD. They make the best quality, cheapest electric car and truck. All right. You don't see them anywhere in the United States. Why not? Because Mr. Trump put a 27% tariff on them, and Mr. Biden raised it to 100%.
And people will be forced to buy U.S. stuff.
Right.
Which then it creates U.S. jobs, which again stimulates the economy.
All right, let me be the economist. Okay? That's good for the Tesla company, which I'm sure is purely coincidental, and GM and Ford and the others. Good. And they'll maybe be able to hold on to some jobs. Good. But now let's follow the bouncing ball, because that's my job as an economist. Yeah. Everywhere else in the world, every company in Asia, Africa, Latin America that competes with an American company that has to buy a truck as part of its business will go to China and buy the best truck at the lowest price, $30,000, the best truck. No American company that competes with them will do that. And you know what that means? Those companies will be able to charge a lower price because they have better inputs than the American company, which doesn't. In the long run, that will lose Americans' jobs left and right as they're outcompeted by all the rest of the world that can go and buy and is buying BYD trucks. If you go to Europe right now and you go on the auto routes all over Europe, you'll see BYD cars and trucks. America is shooting itself in the foot. If you take the United States together with the other G7 countries, that used to be the dominant bloc of the world, right? The United States, let's just enumerate them so everybody knows. Canada, Japan, Germany, France, Italy, and Britain, okay? The G7, and I'm going to add up all the GDP, gross domestic product, total output of goods and services of all of those 7 countries, U.S. and its major allies. And now I'm going to compare it to the gross added up GDPs of China and its allies, known now as the BRICS. Okay, you add up the United States, about 28% of world output. You add up China and the BRICS, it's 35% of the world output. We aren't the wealthiest bloc in the world. We're number 2. And that's new. And that changes everything. Stop. And you can rattle your sabers all over the board. You put the 7th Fleet in the South China Sea. Isn't going to change that. You've got to come to terms with that, but we are led by people who don't want to do that because nobody wants to be the politician who has to explain to the people it's over.
I'm gonna tell y'all, this is how it go. It's simple. It sound unreal, but this is how it go in China. Once you get hired by a good company, they're gonna buy your ticket to get there. They're gonna help you get all your visa, get everything settled. The next thing they're gonna do, they're gonna ask you, do you have a family? Because if you have a family, that means they're gonna buy you a bigger apartment so your family can be comfortable. They're not gonna put you in no small apartment if you have a family of 2, 3, 4. Next, they're gonna buy the apartment. They're gonna show you videos and photos. Then you can negotiate your own salary. If it's a good company, you can get paid $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, up to $4,000 or $5,000 a month. This is with no apartment, no bills, no expenses. They cover everything. And I'm not Christian or anything, but if you want to go home for the holiday, they can pay for your round trip ticket to go home. I'm so serious. This is not a game. I can show y'all job offers. I can help y'all go to China. Go to my Instagram, follow me on Instagram, DM me on Instagram. You can also look at my highlights when I was in China recently. I just came back to America a couple months ago. China is where it's at. I'm telling you, go to China. You're not going to have any expenses. You're going to be able to save money. You're going to be next to Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam. I was like an hour 30 from Philippines. The flight was $150 round trip to the Philippines. I'm telling you, if you have the chance, get out of America. Get out of America. Bro, nobody's saving money here. Nobody can travel. Nobody can do what they want. You barely can take off work. Why would you want to live 20, 30, 40 years like that? You have no control over your life. Someone else is controlling you.
The way I think about China, I call it the engineering state because at various points in the last few decades, the entirety of the Standing Committee of the Politburo, the 9 highest ruling members of the Chinese Communist Party, all of them had degrees in engineering of a very Soviet sort. So these are people who are trained to build, where a mega project is kind of the answer to any number of quandaries that they have. So for the Chinese, there is no problem that cannot be solved with yet another bridge, road, highway, hyperscaler, coal plant, home. And so China is just building its way out of all of its problems. The problem is that they are also fundamentally social engineers. And so they spend a lot of time thinking about how they can engineer the population as well. And so in this book, I spend a lot of time covering the one-child policy as well as zero COVID, which are radical experiments in social engineering and population engineering. I contrast that with the United States, which is also a country where I grew up. Having been a fellow at the Yale Law School's Paul Tsai China Center, one of the things that became really apparent to me was that the U.S. is really a country where the government is made by the lawyers, for the lawyers, and of the lawyers. Lawyers have been very deeply entrenched in America since the very founding. So if you take a look at the first 13 American presidents, everyone from Washington to Lincoln, all but 3 of them had practiced law at some point. The Democratic Party today is really full of lawyers, such that between 1980 to 2020, every single vice presidential and presidential nominee by the Democrats had gone to law school before. And the issue with lawyers is that they're really good at saying no. They're really good at blocking things. And so in the lawyerly society, you don't have stupid ideas like the one-child policy. You also don't have very functional infrastructure almost anywhere throughout the country. Now, since I'm talking to you, Aaron, here we are sitting in London, I would say that as bad as the lawyerly society is, at least it's not the PPE society, am I right? Where I find it remarkable that all of the prime ministers don't only go to Oxford University, they study politics, philosophy, and economics from Balliol College at Oxford University. That is a pretty remarkable concentration that even the Americans are not so bad.
Is China the new American dream, right? Is China the new American dream? Why am I saying this? Oh, damn, got a white hair there. Why am I saying this? China the new American dream? Because, look, America produces almost nothing. Everything from kitchenware, electronics, all that stuff. America doesn't produce anything anymore, not even their own cars. Right? I mean, Tesla produces their cars, in China. iPhones, I know that, the Apple iPhone, Apple computers is an American company, but it's produced in China. So let's say if one day China says we are no longer going to produce anything for America and we're just going to produce it for other countries, or we're just going to start our own brands after learning all the tricks and gimmicks from these American companies, guess what, buddy? America's screwed. And we're not going to produce anything here in America. Okay? And why do you think that Trump had to stop the tariffs, for 90 days, right? Because it was hurting the American economy. Now, look, I know that the Chinese economy is also hurting right now, but guess what? They are, they were preparing themselves for that, right? Because America is not the only market in the world. There's Latin America, there's Africa, there's Asia, there's Europe, there's Russia, right? America thinks that they are the number one, the number one superpower. Not anymore. And they're the only ones that have so much money in the world, and nobody else can compete with them, and blah blah blah. But that has changed. So if America will stop buying things from China, then what's going to happen is that China's just gonna find other people with money. And there's lots of them. Nowadays, there's lots. They can sell to Latin America. All of Latin America, which, by the way, China has been doing big business with them, especially Panama, especially Peru, right? All over the world. Africa is being built by China now. So in the next 5-10 years, Africa, they're gonna have a good population over there. They're gonna have a good population over there of wealthy people. So is the new American dream China? Is China the new American dream? And if you look at America, people can't afford anything. It's like America cannot produce anything affordable. If you cannot produce anything affordable for your own people, what makes you think that that anybody's gonna want to stay in your country? If everything you make is super expensive, the rent, the cars, the food, if everything is going in price, if everything's expensive, even if the food is expensive, and everybody's like struggling, what do you think is gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? People are gonna start leaving America and going somewhere cheaper. But America doesn't produce anything that's affordable, and that's hurting the country, and that is why many people are leaving. You cannot work your way to success anymore. Now you have to like penny pinch and do a whole bunch of shit. And at that point, you're not even sure if you're gonna reach success. You know what I mean? So, but China makes many things affordable. In China, the Chinese can afford many things. They can buy, clothing, food, low rent. You can get an apartment for, $200, $300. Even with, let's say, like a factory worker salary, you can afford a decent apartment, good food, groceries, Medicare. You don't even need to buy a car. You can afford, healthcare, go to the doctor for an affordable price. You can afford many things in China. And I'm not trying to like glorify, China or anything, but it's like, what makes you think that America is still a superpower? It's not. Also, other countries are beating us. When it comes to quality of life, other countries are beating us. So while Trump and all these American leaders are fighting for for America to be, the best country again, guess what? That's not gonna happen because we're not producing shit. We're not producing shit. A lot of our leaders are hurting us. Our leaders are hurting us. Like seriously. Yeah, this is not looking good, man. It's not looking good. It's no wonder people are leaving the country. Make sure to subscribe, hit the plus button, hit the heart button, leave a comment. Let's keep talking.
So for some reason, it's just like hard for people to really comprehend what I'm saying. Like when you work in China, bro, they take care of everything. Like everything that I'm telling y'all is 100% true. They take care of you. They give you a free flight there once you get hired, a free apartment, furnished. Everything comes included. You don't have to worry about anything. And no, they're not paying you no cheap salary. When you're going to work there as a foreigner, especially as an American, they're going to pay you comparable to what you get paid here. But the difference is you save a lot more. On top of the free flight there, the free, fully furnished apartment, and sometimes even free meals. Everything is so cheap out there. I'm talking about you don't even have to cook. $2, $3 meals that you can buy for yourself. Best public transportation in the world by far. Subway costs less than $1 to take to most places around whatever city you in. Like these job opportunities are really out there offering all of these perks and even more if you got a family. Like they really look out for their employee. They know as an American, when you're traveling halfway across the world to work for them, you're expecting the best and they do their best to provide that for you. Like these opportunities really be clutch and like a fresh of breath air because as an American myself, experiencing the system and not really liking it, feeling like I'm bogged down and constrained, like being able to leave the country and finally save and still live a great lifestyle at the same time was like amazing to me. And Americans should be more open-minded to exploring these opportunities because it was absolutely life-changing for me. Like people got their thoughts about, overseas and China in general, but like as a 6'8" black man, I was extremely comfortable, safe, had no problems, saved my bread, did what I had to do, enjoyed my life, and then when I wanted to come back home to visit family, did that. Everything was smooth. I couldn't believe how seamless it was for me for going to a foreign country I've never been to before. Like I'm really telling y'all be surprised what y'all find out there because the life I lived there was way better than the one I lived in America, I'm telling you. And I know a lot of y'all can probably relate to, you know, how stuff going on for y'all in America, but, you know, for me, that switch changed my life.
Privileges that we had in America that we don't quite have in China. So first off, in America, we at least had the privilege of getting a credit check every time we wanted something of value, such as a car or even a simple apartment, versus in China or even Asia in general. All they want to know is if you can afford the rent. When we went to go look for an apartment, they just simply told us the fees and we paid the money for our apartment and moved in. In America, we had the privilege of worrying about our safety. When we were in America, we at least were allowed to carry, just in case some things went left. Versus in China, people don't even carry guns here. Could you imagine living life not even having to worry about protecting yourself? That's insane. Also, in America, we had the privilege of paying expensive bills. I mean, how could you possibly not want to pay $400 a month for a light bill? Also, in America, we actually got to live the fast life. We were never able to actually live life at our own pace, always worrying about bills and just worrying about money all the time. Here in China, we actually get to live life at our own pace. And we actually get to think about what we want to do in life. And these are privileges that we had in America that we don't quite have in China. We just realized that Chinese people really don't like black people. Ever since we have been in China, people have been asking, how does it feel to be a black person in China? Is it safe? Do people stare? Or do they like us in general? Well, we have been here for 1 year and 4 months now, and we think it's finally time for us to come clean and tell the truth. Quite frankly, the truth is, they don't like us. They love us. When we first came to China, not gonna lie, we were a little nervous about how Chinese people would approach us. But now, every time we see a Chinese person greeting us with a smile, we know that 9 times out of 10, they just want to take a picture with us. And best believe, alone just might form of many more people who want to do the same. But anyway, China loves black people so much that they want better for us. China knows that we deserve more than what we have been given for the past centuries. So in return, they actually want to help build up Africa. Wonder what other countries are doing that. Did you know that China helped Africa by kicking off new railway projects, building factories, creating job opportunities, and so much more? Little do you know, Africa and China have been bumping fists for many years now. They even host events amongst the two so they can gain more of an understanding of each other's history and culture. The relationship between China and Africa has grown a lot within the past century, and they plan to grow it a lot more. So before you say China hates black people, think about the relationship that China has with Africa, and think about how we have been treated since we have been in China for the past year.
一下皮肤没事，没事。这太黑了，要黑。哎呀，太黄了。你好。我傻眼呐。我傻眼。你别跑啊！握手，我不吃人。那你别跑行吗？你看小孩都不跑了，你跑干啥？你看又跑了。你吃啥我请你吃。你看别跑！哎呦我的妈！能进不？能进不？我。那不能进吗？能进啊！能进啊！那这咋表情这样呢？多好啊！呐，出头了，出头了。挺好。
我们中国安全，你知道不？哎，就你那地方不安全。
咋？你去过吗？
去过。
你啥时候去的？
配合我说你的话行吗？
说啥话呀？
就是我。
Forward to the Civil War era. And you have, I'm from the South, right? My people, the elite in my part of the country, right, actually announced that the reason they wanted to break away from the Union and possibly go to war with their brothers and sisters to the North was in order to maintain slavery and white supremacy. They said that at the time. We lie about it now. And we say it had nothing to do with that. But of course, at the time, they didn't have any shame about it, so they just said it openly. Right? The vice president of the Confederacy, Alexander Stevens, said that the cornerstone of the new government was the great truth.
China, being a black person in China, this is what we go through here in China. Like they've not seen black people. Hi. What's your name? Sorry? It's okay. So like it's okay. Okay. Okay, now. So like they're just staring at. Say hi. Oh, I love you too. Okay. Oh no, guys. Last one, okay. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Oh my god, these are too much. The experiences we get here in China, being a black person in China, this is what. Be ready for that.
Okay, so I am living in China, and I've been living here for almost 3 years now. I went to high school for 2 years in Chinese boarding school, and now I'm in college. And I just wanted to give you guys my experience of basically a brief rundown of what it's like being black in China. So first of all, everyone was like, before I even came to China, everyone was like super nervous. They're like, oh my god, Chinese people are so racist, like you gotta be careful, like they don't like y'all over there. But let me tell y'all, when it comes to racism, here's what I'll point out. There are, of course, like mainly the racism that you'll experience in China will be like online, like trolls. So for example, for me, like on Chinese social media, like Douyin, which is like China TikTok, sometimes I'll be seeing people comment some crazy racist shit. Like it goes around, even sometimes on like social media, like people will just post some stuff and it's like really crazy. So that is like pure blatant racism, but it's always online. Like I swear to God, it's just internet trolls. Like you can't control it. Of course it's gonna happen, but it's not the majority of like Chinese netizens. It's really not. But yeah, in real life, people you don't really experience, I haven't really experienced much racism, and I'm in like the Shanghai, Suzhou area, and I've also like traveled around different parts of China, and honestly, okay, one time I did get called, like heigui, which is like the N-word in Chinese, by this one guy. It was like this drunk guy, and he like said it, and that's like really it, but awkward. And honestly, sometimes if you do like speak Chinese or can understand Chinese, I've heard some people say like, oh, they're so black, oh, they're ugly, but it's not that common. Like I've heard it before, but it's not like all the time. Honestly, I'm not condoning like any form of racism. Like we're not gonna do some like racism Olympics and like which racism is worse than which racism, but I will say that I've experienced so much racism in the United States, especially me. Like I'm Jewish, I went to Jewish school, and the racism there that I experienced with people that live in America and have been around black people much more than Chinese people, like it's just way worse. So like coming to China, I just feel like very relieved, and I just feel free. Like honestly, I can't really say much. And like another thing is the staring. Okay, yes, the staring is a lot. It might be too much for some people. I've seen people in the comments say like, oh, I could never, like, I don't want people staring at me, people coming up to talk to me, which I understand, but I mean, personally, I don't care. Like, people can stare, like, whatever. Sometimes I don't want to be perceived, but like, I can't control it, so I'm just like, okay, whatever, like, y'all can look at me. And yeah, people definitely take pictures. They'll try to be secretive, acting like they're on the phone and they're snapping pics of you. Like, if y'all don't like that, that might be a deal breaker coming to China. But honestly, I really don't want it to like scare people, because the experience, like China is just so amazing. And like, yeah, there are some small things like the staring and the pictures that you might have to like get over, but honestly, I feel like it shouldn't ruin your experience that much. But I think it really just depends on person to person. And yeah, like if you don't want a lot of attention, it would be kind of difficult being black in China or even a foreigner in China, because there'll definitely be lots of attention and people want to speak to you. Like, people are very curious. A lot of people haven't seen black people in person. Maybe if you go to like big cities like Shanghai, you can, like, less people will stare, but if not, it might be a little bit difficult. And another thing is like the fear of like police and like law enforcement in America is like really big within the black community, but like here in China, if I'm around police, girl, like it's nothing. It's really nothing. Like, I don't feel scared for my life. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel like in the US, sometimes I'd feel like a pit in my stomach when I'm like in a certain part of the state. Like, for example, I'm from Georgia, which is like the deep south. Like, if I'm in a certain part of Georgia, like, I will feel very uneasy, but I don't feel uneasy in China at all. I can like literally go out anytime at night and feel super safe. So yeah. Also, Chinese people are generally very like giving and very caring and sharing. Like, I've had so many people like talk to me, give me free stuff, like invite me to certain places, like invite me out to eat, do this, do that. So it's like, I low-key say like, low-key some hashtag black privilege, hashtag foreigner privilege in China, but it's like serious. Like, these people are so generous and I love my experience. So if you're thinking of coming to China and you're black, definitely come to China. Like, it will definitely be so much fun. But yeah, if it's really a deal breaker about like the amount of attention you might get, then maybe stay in like a really big city.
So yeah, Black Americans have not been having the easiest time. They have been going through a lot in the States, ranging from racism, segregation, and all that. And they have been forgotten for a long time to an extent that their efforts and their contribution to the development of the economy of the US has not been acknowledged. And yeah, some of these folks are finding it hard to continue staying in the United States simply because of the high cost of living. The taxes are so much. The tariffs are affecting their businesses and all that. Different policies, lack of protection from the government, racism, and all that. And racism has always been a major factor, especially in different states. And many attribute these forms of racism and that to hate, as opposed to China, as you've seen in the clips. The racism in China, I understand there is a bit of it in China too. Apart from few cases that are genuine, most of these folks are saying that most cases of racism are mostly due to ignorance, such that most communities deep into the rural areas of China have never seen any black person, so they are fascinated when they see you, and maybe in the process, they make some exclamations which might not sit well with you, which is pretty much acceptable. Unlike in the US, whereby the folks know what they're doing, and they're doing it out of hate and all that. They're just trying to demean you, make it look bad on your face, rub it on your face. Some are trying even to kill you. So it's not been an easy journey. But this topic, as I said, it attracts widespread discussion. There are those who prefer the life in China, racism there, or as compared to the US. So it depends with the individual at the end of the day. But could this be an awakening whereby the American dream is no longer alive and people are trying to pursue other, countries and other options which they deem viable for them? So tell me what you think down below in the comment section. Let's have a discussion, and I have a little bit of your thought. So if you're coming across this channel for the first time, thank you so much for clicking. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share so that we continue to produce more content like this, and just spread information about the Black community and appreciate them for their excellence and all that. So that is it for today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching.